Hi guys, it's Shelly from Indie TV, and I am delighted to be joined by Courtney Taylor-Taylor, he of the Dandy Warhols. How are we?
We're good.
Good. Welcome to Ireland.
I can't stop doing this even though you told me not to.
Welcome to Ireland and welcome to Cork. You're no stranger to Ireland. You were here not long ago, maybe a year ago, at one of the festivals there as well.
Yeah, C-Sessions, that was great.
Good stuff. So it was kind of a while since the Dandies released anything, but then quite recently you've released your single Chauncey P versus All the Girls in London. Is this like a taster what we can expect from an album maybe?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, a lot of guitar. I mixed that one, and it's really hard for me to mix my own or our own work or my own work after hearing it for 2 years, in so many different forms. We've just found our mixer, fantastic Brit guy that does some big pop stuff and also does rock, Stereophonics and Beyonce.
Wow.
So our next record is going to be amazing. We have one song mixed for it, and we'll remix Chauncey P, but we will have a record out and releases in earnest early next year.
Cool, early next year. Brilliant, good to hear. And do you always record in your own studio in the auditorium?
Yeah, I mean, it's so expensive. We have, one of the 10 coolest studios that's probably ever been built.
Yeah.
And it's so expensive to go somewhere else to record. On top of we're just learning what our studio sounds like and getting, we're getting clearer and better mixes, every year after year. We get a better grasp on what it is. So there's really not any good reason to be wandering off to Barcelona or something to record or whatever, Saint-Tropez.
You don't get cabin fever or anything when you're stuck in there for so long?
It's a quarter of a city block. It's huge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is absolutely massive, and it's the opposite of cabin fever. You get to where you're like, I really don't want to go home.
And do you bring other artists in, or is it specifically for Dandy Warhols?
Yeah, it's just ours, and I prefer to have other bands. Like I mixed a couple and produced for the Vincents, who are from here, and I just prefer to have the bands record themselves so that their personality goes down, and then I'll mix it and I'll do a lot of editing and get it, the final imprint.
Speaking of, bands being compared to one another, you were always compared to the Brian Jonestown Massacre, and of course there was that musical documentary, Dig. Is it the most watched musical documentary? Is that something
Yeah, that's what, it's like the most watched film ever made about rock now. Yeah. And the highest grossing. But, that's pretty weird. It's a bit of a mess. We look at it as a documentary, and it's not really a documentary. It's sort of a fudged together reality TV.
Right.
I mean, I think the stuff of the Jonestown is pretty straight up doc, because they moved to LA, and she lived there, so she could film them. But we would see her every 2 years, and she would have little things for us to do. Here, no, you're not going. You got to come with me, and we're going to drive out to the desert today. And it was all set up, and what to say and what to do. Like, come on, you got to help them out. And it was always this, come on, you got to help the Jonestown. No one else is going to help those guys. And we would be like, all right, we'll do anything for these guys. You're right, And they were a mess.
And looking at that documentary, it was mostly footage of them. Was there lots of unseen footage of you guys? And is that still available, or?
Not much. She was supposed to give it to us, but I think because she had won a bunch of awards for the thing, and it's such a dishonest film, I think that she was afraid that we would, if we got the footage, we would expose her and she would lose all her awards and all this, you know what I mean? I think that's what she must have been afraid of, because otherwise, why would she not give us the real footage that she shot of us just, talking, hanging out, doing things? She only used her setups, and so I can't imagine why else would she not want us to have. She's the only person we let film us, and now that whole part of our lives is gone. It's lost to us.
It's a shame.
It's really sad and awful, but that's Hollywood. Hollywood people, no matter how good a talk you just really should not believe them. So.
And would you think of doing a documentary now yourselves, sure?
We're not as interesting as we used to be. We're very serious about, well, God, maybe we are. I mean, but we weren't the interesting part of that movie. Anton was the interesting part of that movie, and Joel was. Those are the guys that movie's about. We're just this kind of foil that, got kind of created for it. Like, we were very interesting back then, I think,
I believe
and I don't think in the movie we come across as interesting whatsoever, but I think when you're a mess, it's interesting, and we weren't like them, but we were different.
You're crazy.
We're very organized now.
Yeah,
we get things done. We have a great time, but it doesn't hurt. Our problems are too subtle. They're like management issues, and you know what I mean. They're not. They're not starving on the street and lost my phone and nobody knows where I am and I missed my flight. They're not. We don't. That doesn't happen to us anymore.
Yeah.
Knock on wooden head.
I'd still watch a Dandy Warhols documentary. But actually, speaking of that, like, do you look at bands today and just think, like, they're no fun at all? Like, in Ireland, we say crack for fun, so we say they're no crack.
Oh, yeah, it's precious. They're real precious, But they're, rock, there's a lot. I think there's rock bands.
There's no sex, drugs, and rock and roll anymore, though.
Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, the bands that we hang out with in Portland that are, new, young bands, are absolutely sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Absolutely,
That's where it's at.
But you don't hear them on the radio. They're not coming through Ireland. They're not on world tours.
Yeah. So over the last 20 odd years with the Dandies, like, you've all been doing your different side projects and everything. Has that been a benefit to the actual Dandy Warhols? Like, has that benefited you in any way?
Yeah, I think everyone's gotten better at understanding, music arrangement and being able to get things done, but it's hard to say because we just keep changing. We think we were growing, but really I don't know that we're any less immature than we used. I mean, music is such a complicated abstraction that I don't know that you get better at it. I think with the minute you think you do, you're probably just getting old and like not as cool. I mean, you can look at any band that got on with their career for 20, 30 years, these legendary bands, and they're just not as good as their third record. Their 10th record is not as good as their third record, or their second. And they're the Stones, and they're the greatest rock and roll band that's ever existed. But at some point, Mick and Keith stopped producing their records to go for more professional producers, and the records stopped being a shot heard around the world. Actually, there's a movie about them making Exile on Main Street, and we were like, oh my God, they're acting like this is such a strange way to make a record. But we have never made a record any other way than the way they're doing it. You get a space and you move gear in, and you just kind of live in and out of there, and it just takes forever. It takes a year or 2 years, Like, wow.
Speaking of that actual album, like, they were talking about the way they had to use that cut-up method to write, Casino Boogie, I think it was, on Exile on Main Street. Have you ever been in that position where you're like, the songs don't come to you naturally, that you have to like nearly force the song, you're under pressure to like write a song? It's just always been kind of...
Yeah, we've never had much pressure. People leave us alone. The industry has always done a good job of leaving us alone.
Yeah.
I think they're just afraid to get yelled at by me.
You're a good boss, though.
I used to be.
Listen, you're playing the main stage tonight at Independence. What can fans expect from the Dandy Warhols set?
Euphoria.
Brilliant.
A sustained, emotional and intellectual and sexual massage.
Oh, nice.
Just made that up.
Will all items of clothing remain on?
Oh, I don't know. It's up to...
Who knows?
So, are you kidding? It's effing freezing here, dude. Yeah. Yes, definitely. You're going to have to stick your hands in somebody's pants and stay warm tonight.
Oh, lovely. And you're playing the Academy then in Dublin tomorrow night?
Yeah.
And that's along with your friends, the Vincents?
Yeah, my buddies, the Vincents. That'll be great fun. I think we're going to be afterwards. I've booked the next day off, I was saying, because I think we're going to be after the gig tomorrow, I think we're going to go out probably and be very irresponsible with our health. So I'll need a long sleep the next day, and then I'm going to drink some of the amazing Bordeaux wines that I was telling you about. I mean, this is less expensive than it is in France, you know. And they're saying, well, you know, the Bartons have been, you know,
that's a brilliant Irish accent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm real good at that. She just lives down a wee little lane. I can do the Careful now, Ted.
Brilliant. You're a Father Ted fan.
Yeah. Dougal. We're priests. Oh, come on now, Ted. You don't really believe in all that hell and eternal damnation, how do you? Dougal. Of course I do. Yeah.
Have you got the box sets?
Have you seen the spider? Have you seen the spider, baby? It's got the body of a spider, but the mind of a baby. It's kind of Craggy Isle around here. That's the first thing. We all got off the bus and just started going, ha ha, careful now, Ted.
Did you get any tea?
What's her name? Mrs.
Doyle.
What?
Mrs. Doyle.
Mrs. Doyle. No, we haven't seen her yet.
Yeah. We'll get you a cup of tea later on.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Listen, Courtney, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to talk to you. Best of luck tonight and enjoy Dublin tomorrow and your day off then after that. Courtney Taylor-Taylor.